So next topic that we are going to discuss in transaction is about system log. So in our day-to-day life, we heard about different logs. Example, in mobile we have the call log facility. So in the call log, we are actually can see who all are called us, as well as what to which all numbers we already called. So system log actually mean that what all activities that system performed in its day-to-day working process. So as systems have a particular log, DBMS also have a log which keep the activities that done by a particular transaction. So you already saw how what are the possibilities of failures in a particular transaction management system, and you studied that we need to recover from the transaction management system, or we need to roll back after a particular failure into a consistent point. So in all those case, we need to know what all things a particular transaction already done. Then only we can do this rollback. Otherwise, maybe we need to do again a redo of all those activities. So in the DBMS, it is done with help of a particular mechanism known as system log, in which all the process that done by a transaction, or all the operations done by a transaction is um, keep kept inside the log and monitored. So the system log maintains a log to keep track of all the transaction operations that affect the values of the database items, as well as other transaction information that may needed to permit recovery from failure. So it actually keeping track of the operations that done on database item. So the log file is actually kept inside the hard disk, and it is actually an append only file. That means we are always append to the content actually resides in the file. And in order for making more security for the log, we periodically move, or we periodically backup the log from the second device to other tape also. So these are the set of commands, or we can say set of records that we are keeping about a particular transaction inside a log. So this but when I start a particular transaction, we start to record different types of records about that transaction. So it can be used for showing the starting position of a particular transaction, end position of a particular transaction, what all the operations done by a particular transaction. So by more watching, or by traversing through these records, we can identify that what all operations a particular transaction already completed, and maybe if in case of failure it can roll back all this operation, or in some cases it can again redo those operations. So we can see what are the types of records which we stored into a system log. So the first is start transaction comma t. This indicates transaction t has started execution. So when a particular transaction t0 or t1 or tn begins its execution, the DBMS store into the system log that a transaction t started. So it's not written like an alphabet or in an English sentence. It's actually done by using this format, start transaction comma tn. Okay, so from the log we can find that the particular transaction tn already begins its transaction. Next type of entries are write item entry. So write item can be, or by looking into that entry we can identify that which transaction uh, do the modification of a particular variable, and what was the older value of that variable and the updated value also. So it is in the format write item, then second parameter is name of the transaction, then name of the data variable that transaction T is going to update, then old value of X or the data item and the new value of data item. And third in type of entry is read item. It indicates that transaction T has read the value of the data item X. Okay, so by looking into that, we can identify that what all data variable that transaction read while it's executed. Then after doing all the operations, the transaction will return two operations, either commit operation or abort operation into the log. So if because of any type of failure, like missing of a particular variable value or logical error like divide by 0, the transaction is itself going to abort. So in that case, the DBMS will directly store abort statement into the log. So by analyzing a particular log, we can identify that which all transactions aborted in its execution phase. And in some cases, if the failure is due to some crashing of the system, we can't find any commit or abort operations, abort statements inside the log. So in that case, we need to go for some other approaches we will see in our next slides. So here each transaction end either with commit operation or abort operation if the transaction itself ending. So commit indicates that the transaction T has completed successfully and affirms that its effect can be committed to the database. That means that the transaction completely executed and all the updated value is moved into the persistent storage devices or our secondary disk. And if some failure happened, it will return abort statement into the system log, and it indicates the transaction T has been aborted in its execution phase. So actually read operation is optional to include in the transaction, because we know that the read operation is not doing any type of modification to the data item. So while in the recovery process or in the rollback process, it is not bothering us. So it is actually an optional item, but we can include it in the system log to get a knowledge that what all read operation a particular transaction done its while in its execution. So if the system crashes, we can recover to a consistent database state by examining the log and using one of the following technique. So if system crashes, either we do an undo operation, otherwise we do a redo operation. So you have to remember these two terms because we need to use in later topics. So undo means it is possible to undo the effect of the write operation of a transaction T by tracing backward through the log and resetting all items changed by a write operation of T to their older value. So after restarting the system due to some failure, after restarting the system, the database system will checks the system log. So it will go through the system log and then go to identify what all transaction committed its execution or aborted its execution, and it also check whether any transaction didn't write abort or commit statement into the log. That indicates that that particular transaction was in execution phase before the failure occur. Okay, so if a particular transaction already written commit or abort, then it is not need to bother about that. But if it didn't see any abort statement or the commit statement that indicates that the transaction was in execution phase. So those type of transaction need to be rolled back. Okay, so or we can say undo its operation. So undo means we are actually undoing all the write operation that done by a particular transaction. So while restarting after the system crash, if particular transaction done a certain operation but not yet committed or aborted, then those write operation will be rollbacked. Okay, so in next one is redo operation. So redo operation means that suppose a transaction completed its execution, but the committed operations are currently residing in the primary memory or main memory, then we can say that we need to store it into the secondary device. But before storing it into the secondary devices, the system go into some failure issues, or it's crashed due to electricity problem or some other case. So in that case we can say that we are actually go for redo operation, because all the data item already it used, but before transferring the updated value into the secondary devices, the system failed. So in such cases we are doing the redo operation. So that means the transaction will be executed again from the first step. So it's only thing that the redo operation do is it will check for the write operation, the transaction done, and it's redo that those write operation. So transaction T reaches its commit point when all its operations that access the database have been executed successfully, and the effect of all the transaction operation on the database have been recorded in the log. The transaction writes a commit record into the log when it's completed its execution. And if a system failure occurs, the system searches back in the log for transaction T that have written start statement record into the log but have not written their commit record yet. This transaction may be rolled back to undo their effect on the database during the recovery process. So next is different properties of transaction. It's actually important one. So many times it's asked for 5 mark or 3 mark question in university examination. So there are mainly 4 properties for a particular transaction. They should be enforced by concurrency control and recovery methods of DBMS. Then properties are called as ACID properties. Mainly there are 4 properties: atomicity, consistency preservation, isolation, durability, or permanency. So atomicity means a particular transaction either complete all its operation or none. That means a transaction is an atomic unit of processing. It should either be performed in its entirety or not performed at all. And next is consistency preservation. A transaction should be consistency preserved, meaning that if it is completely executed from beginning to end without inference from other transaction, it should take the database from one consistent state to another state. So a consistent data means the value is valid in the real world, that is consistent data. Suppose a currently the database is in consistent state, and if we start the transaction and it completed its process, then all the values that it's updated should be in a consistent state. Next one is isolation. So we already said that we are actually executing different transactions at the same time, and we call that term as concurrent transaction or concurrent execution. So in that case we actually know that different transactions are actually executed in an interleaved fashion, but even though it is executed in interleaved fashion, one transaction must be independent of another transaction. So that is known as isolation. A transaction should appear as though it is being executed in isolated from other transaction. There won't be any transaction that affect a particular execution of another transaction. That is called as isolation. And next one is durability. So durability means that suppose a transaction completed operation and it moves to in the committed state, then no failure should affect the updated data item. Okay, that is mean by durability. So if all the data item is updated data item is returned back into the secondary devices, then none of the failure of the system could affect the updated data item. So every change applied to a database by a committed transaction must persist in the database. This change must not be lost because of any failure. So based on these ACID properties, mainly in isolation, based on isolation, a transaction can be named as level 0 isolated transaction, level 1 isolated transaction, level 2 isolated transaction, level 3 isolated transaction. So a transaction is said to be have a level 0 isolation if it does not override dirty reads of higher level transaction. So I think you remember what I mean by a dirty read problem. So a particular transaction wrote something and it returned back to secondary devices, and it's continuous execution. In the meantime, second transaction read the value written by the first transaction, and it's updated that data item, and it's completed its execution. But after the second transaction committed its execution, the first transaction failed and it rolled back all the values. So that is meant by dirty read. So the thing particular transaction is said to be isolated if it avoids this dirty read operation. And next one is level 1. So level 1 isolation means there has not any lost update problem. That means by a particular transaction read a particular value, updated the value, but before it transferring the updated value into the secondary device or permanent media, a transaction T2 read the value from the secondary device. That is actually lost update problem. So if a transaction is said to be in level 1, it avoids the lost update problem, and in level 2, if it avoids both the lost update as well as the dirty read. And finally, level 3 isolation is very hard to achieve. Level 3 isolation, and it is achieve level 3 isolation if there it have a particular property known as repeatable read. So repeatable read means a transaction read a particular data item, and after few seconds or after a particular interval it again read the same data item. Then both the values are same, that is the value written in the first read process and the value written in the second read process are same. That indicates that the transaction is in isolated state. So when we can achieve this isolated state, or when it can't achieve this third isolated state. So we know that a particular transaction read the item and it go for doing other process, and in the meantime there may be other transaction that read those item and updated the item. Okay, so when the first transaction again came for reading the same data item, there is a chance that other transaction might change the value of the data item. So the transaction T1 read the same data item twice in its execution, but it get different values in the two read operation. So that indicate it is not only the transaction, there are other transaction currently executing in the machine. So we can't say it is in isolation of 3 levels, sorry, the third level. Okay, so that is level 3 isolation, in which there should be repeatable read. That is, if more than if two or read operation done by a transaction on the same data item, both time the value should be same.